Good morning, church. Happy Monday. Blair here. Once again, we have an amazing psalm that is just full of information. So we're just going to have to focus on one verse. Psalm 14:1. In the ESV it says, "The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt, they do abominable deeds, there is none who does good." The word fool in Hebrew means morally deficient. The fool knows that there is a God because Romans 1:20 says so, but the fool refuses to acknowledge him because he wants to continue doing his own thing. This past Sunday, Ross quoted Paul Miller. Paul said, "We want the comforts of the kingdom without conformity to the king." See, Ross, I really was listening. The fool says there is no God because he does not want to submit his life to God's superior way of doing things. Here is a personal example. When my oldest daughter Deanne was about 2 years old, like most kids that age, she began prematurely asserting her independence. After having parents dressing her whole life, she began to desire to start dressing herself. She would say, "Me do it." It was so cute. But that is a perfect example of our sinful nature as humans. We all want to do our own things our own way. Like a 2-year-old, we want to dress ourselves. And so the relationship between a daughter and me mirrors the believer's relationship with God. We are his children. But instead of listening to him, we deny his existence. By choosing to do things our own way, I believe that a skewed relationship with one's earthly father can compound this condition. When we have baggage from our relationship with our earthly father, it makes it harder for us to trust and submit to God. When we read this verse, perhaps, there are people who come to mind that remind us of the fool in this passage. However, we need to guard and examine ourselves and see the areas in our lives where we are morally the deficient fool. We are the morally deficient fool. The areas where we want to do what feels good, rather than simply obeying God. It is our sinful nature, however. We are the fools when we deny God's existence by doing things our own way. Like Adam and Eve in the garden, when they took it upon themselves to pick tree from the fruit, they ignored God and did what felt good. John 3:19 and 20 sums it up. "And this is the judgment, that the light has come to the world, and people love the darkness rather than the light, because their works were evil." For everyone who does wicked things, the light and does not come to the light, lest his work should be exposed. Brothers and sisters, let us love the light rather than darkness, and encourage each other to do so. Have a good week.